Yes, sir. I'm glad to
There
be
you go.
here, Eric. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Now, I know that you were showing me some books, some new books that you're writing, some new books that are coming out. What do you
Yes.
got going on, Patrick?
All right. Well, I'll show you one here just because I just got the proof copy in the mail today. Let me zoom in there on the video where you can see that a little bit better. There we
Yeah, there you go.
go. 10 critical questions for physicians in private practice. And it says on the subtitle there, and the single choice that can help your practice to prosper and grow.
There you
And guess
go.
what that one thing is? Now, by the way, this is written by Dr. Vicky Ratner. Yeah, Dr. Ratner has written this book. It's a little, almost like a pamphlet. This one's a smaller 100 pages of 10 questions. And in these questions, her answers always have to do with that one thing, Eric. And that one thing is the doctor can help their practice grow and prosper by outsourcing their billing. So
Yes.
this will be a wonderful little sales tool for our licensees. We're going to let them personalize this with their contact information right here on the back. So it'll be printed right there on the book. They'll be able to buy these from us at our printing cost, which I think, Eric, these are going to be maybe even $3 a copy,
There
maybe
you go.
less. Yeah.
I'd say let's get them. I mean, I think, for someone who is just now getting started and you need some credibility, Patrick, this is one of the best ways to build that type of credibility right out of the gate. So having
Yeah,
a book.
when you're associated with a medical doctor like this, giving out a book written by a medical doctor that is for other medical doctors, it just doesn't get any better from a credibility standpoint.
It really doesn't. It's and folks, again, like we're saying, when you're moving in from whatever career that you're in and moving into this whole medical billing world, revenue cycle management world, you really need the credibility, and that's one of the credibility parts that we actually give you here. Now, talking about credibility, we want to show some credibility because what we'd like to do is give you the printout of today's webinar slides. You'll go find that in your handouts. Patrick's got that down over there. It's a little PDF of some of the things, and some of the things that we're going to talk about here real quickly. There's going to be at the very bottom of the slide deck, you'll see some URLs or some websites that you can go to on some of these articles that we're going to talk about right here in the very beginning. So if you'd like to go and get that, go ahead and start downloading it. Patrick, let's talk about this first one. We know that we're not in a recession right now, and so we may be leading into a recession, but in all, if we're talking about markets, why would I ever want to be in the healthcare market? Well, this is one of the reasons. When the economy is sick, look to healthcare for the cure. Great article here.
Yeah, and Eric, I want to actually read this carefully to people so they can wrap their brain around this, because when you're looking into starting your own business, folks, it's very important that you research and know that the industry that you're getting into is not going to be affected by any kind of recession or slowdown in the economy. Now, I don't know about other parts of the country, but Eric, here in Texas, of course, we're booming. This is always a great environment for business. But other parts of the country are kind of struggling right now. So if you'll go to that next slide, I think, Eric, we've got that just blown up there. Yeah. So here's 3 economists that were affiliated with the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. They offer healthcare sector insights from the Great Recession of December 2007 to June 2009. Remember that? I remember that.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that our business wasn't affected by it. Personally, we were just not affected as a company. That's why we stayed here, and we're still here after 25 years. But among the questions it asked was, did employment in healthcare mirror that of the overall economy, or was healthcare recession-proof? Now, I don't know about that term. I don't know that anything is completely recession-proof. But man, we made it through that just with flying colors. Here's the answer. It says, the Great Recession, quote, had little negative effect on job growth in healthcare compared with its effect on the national economy. So it affected the whole economy in a negative way, but not healthcare. And it says that they conclude for the most part that this was true regardless of occupational setting or geographic location. So doesn't matter what part of the country you're in, healthcare is always going to be there. I always put it this way, Eric, you've heard me say this, as long as there's human beings that get sick, that
Right.
go to a doctor. And if the doctor needs to get paid, somebody has to bill somebody for that doctor to get paid. And that's us. That's what we teach people to do.
You bet. It goes on here because now for our analytical people, they want numbers. It keeps on saying here throughout the nation, healthcare employment increased. Now, during that time, Patrick, it increased 31.6% or 3.5 million jobs during the period of 2001 through 2014. By contrast, total non-farm employment grew only 5.7% or 6.3 million jobs during the same period. So, I mean, we're talking over this time frame, 51.6% of all national job growth occurred in healthcare. You know,
if 50%, 56% of all the job growth.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at trying to get in the sector that's going to be somewhat recession-proof and continue to keep growing, one of them is obviously going to be in the healthcare industry.
Yeah, I mean, there's several businesses probably that were not affected by recession. If you have a sandwich shop, it might be affected. You think, well, everybody has to eat. Well, yeah, but they don't have to buy your $7 sandwiches.
Right.
They could buy, make their own for $1.50 at home.
You bet. Now, here's another one, and this one's really interesting to go to because it lists the top 5 recession-proof industries, and its number 1 recession-proof industry was healthcare. And again, it's got very similar information.
I like that start there. Germs don't care about the economy. You don't stop getting sick just because you're out of a job. In fact, the stress may make you feel even worse, It says no wonder it feels like pharmaceuticals and biotechnologies are particularly resilient.
Yeah.
Did I put this type on a bigger slide, Eric, on the next slide? I don't remember.
Yeah, there you go. You sure did.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let me continue there with the second paragraph. We're an older population with more health problems than we were during the last recession, obviously. According to the December employment report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, healthcare jobs continued to rise, adding 22,000 jobs last month alone. Specific jobs such as physicians, 9,000 new physicians, and home healthcare services, also about 8,000, did very well. So Eric, it just doesn't get any better than this. We've added 631,000 jobs since the beginning of the last recession.
Right.
And that will continue, I'm sure. I think we've said before and shown statistics that the healthcare industry is about almost 20% of the entire gross national product. So it's a big industry. If you're going to get into an industry that has a big slice of the pie for you, this is a good one to look at.
I think it was last week or the week before that we were doing a webinar, and we came across an article that only second to the United States government, healthcare employs just as many people, or just under the government. So you're talking about if you're not working for the government, you only get in the next biggest sector, and that's healthcare. So it truly is a huge thing now. Now, you mentioned earlier about Dr. Vicki Ragnar, and she's written another book called The Myth of the Rich Doctor. And again, here are some statistics that are good for people as you're kind of trying to learn this whole industry and whether this is going to be a good fit for you. Patrick and I just kind of laid out a foundation that if you're going to look into some type of business sector or something to get into, healthcare is one of those markets to get into. Now, Dr. Ragnar is telling you why here. Patrick, you want to read this for us?
Yeah, look at this. I love this quote right out of this book. And you can have this book, folks. This is another marketing tool that is available to you as an ABS licensee. It says physicians in private practice lose somehow for an average of 30% of their incomes when they do not follow up on rejected insurance claims. Now, Eric, that may be a shock to a lot of people on here for the first time, but we've mentioned this before in the past that doctors are leaving 30% of their incomes on the table, so to speak, when they don't follow up on those rejected insurance claims because for many, many reasons, human errors and otherwise, insurance companies reject claims and send them back and don't pay them. And a lot of those never get followed up on. So Dr. Vicky goes on to say, outsourcing your medical billing could bring claim rejection rates to as low as 2 to 5%. Now, Eric, as you know, nationwide, our system tracks our rejection rate for those initial claim submissions, and it's now below 2%. We just say, it's a less than 2%.
Right. Yeah.
And look at.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to read that bowl there. This may be the fastest and easiest way to increase your cash flow. Now, remember, this is a book that you can give as a gift to a doctor. When the doctor is reading this from another doctor and she says, this may be the fastest and easiest way to increase your cash flow, that lights up their bulb, bulbs go off.
Yeah, well, it makes them at least think. And again, we go, okay, well, that may be one doctor's opinion, but here is a collective group of doctors, which is the New England Journal of Medicine, that their estimates will say that a doctor will waste 24 cents out of every dollar are going to be wasted on administrative and billing expenses. So if we think that in comparison to what an outsourced billing company would charge, they're going to charge anywhere from 6, maybe even up to 9%. That's a whole lot less than 24 cents of what's happening in that doctor's office.
Yeah, so folks, in our business, we teach you how to price it, of course, so that the doctor accepts the fact that they're going to save money. Well, one of the reasons for that is because we literally can reduce their costs from 24 cents out of every dollar down to, like Eric said, 6 to 9%. And that's money that they would not see otherwise. So it's not like you're selling something that costs the doctor money. It saves them money. And we also bring in more money, as you saw from the previous slide, than they're getting now. So it's a win-win for them.
And then here's one more thing for again, all of our analytic people out there. There's a company out there called Black Book Rankings, and they do all these different surveys. And from time to time, they come up with some new percentages and statistics that are out there. And the last one that we received is 89% of all the physician practices agreed that their billing and collection systems needs upgrading. So that could just be simply just getting it out of their office. Whether you're putting technology in their office, Patrick, or not, just getting that out of their office for them could be an upgrade.
That's right. People don't realize the hidden costs. It's not just the employees' cost of their pay for doing the billing in the doctor's office. Folks, they have hidden costs behind the scenes for the software, for example. Some doctors have software that resides on their computer, needs upgrading constantly, and they charge sometimes thousands of dollars to upgrade the codes and the other things that are in that software. And it's ridiculous what doctors are paying when they could have it outsourced, and many of them do. I mean, let's face it, there is a certain number of doctors out there. We've read up to 50% of them already outsourced. But the great thing is, Eric, that our licensees are signing up those doctors who've outsourced it to another company because they don't have the technology that we have, and they don't have the lowest rejection rate like we have.
You're right. So now
I just realized my forehead is so shiny today. I don't know what's happening here. I need some powder. Let me get to the makeup, people.
Yeah, makeup. Where's the makeup? Folks, before we go on to the next slide, we're already 20 minutes into the webinar. If you've got a question for us, feel free to ask those questions. Put those questions in there. Patrick and I can be watching those questions as we go through. So now you're at a position. What do you go? Are you going to be an entrepreneur? Are you going to be an employee? So basically, folks, there's two paths you can take. So if you think about it, Patrick, a lot of people ask us here at ABS, why would I go with American Business Systems when there's people going to colleges? They go 6 months, maybe they go for 2 years, maybe some of them go 4 years to get what they think of as a medical billing degree. Yeah, it's weird because people who do that don't realize that what they're really doing is just preparing to go to work for a doctor. If that's what you want is just a job, then that's the path you should take. There's all kinds of schools at colleges. There's online stuff that you can do. Eric's showing some figures here that we came up with online for what it actually costs to go out and get that diploma. $15,000 for a 6-month course. An associate degree takes about 2 years. That's about $24,000 you'd spend for that.
And the average salary for all of that is only about, what was it, 37,000?
Yeah, I'm putting it back up there. I clicked one button too soon. There we go, 38,000.
38,700. So let's compare that now, Eric, with the other path. If people want to be their own boss, start their own company, then they basically invest with us by purchasing what we call our business package. It's a training package of live training down here in Dallas and lifetime support, plus all sorts of marketing tools that we've developed. And Eric's showing you here a screenshot of our website. You've probably been to this before, absystems.com.
Yeah, and we're showing you, now we're going to just talk with you. If you were going to work for a doctor, we showed that you're going to make maybe $38,000, but here you're going to work with just one doctor, and instead of working 8 hours a day, you could be working about maybe 2 hours a day at the most, with one doctor that's going to see 25 patients a day, open up about 5 days a week, and you're going to charge 6% of $100 to that. That could be $39,000 working from home, like I said, for about 2 hours.
Yeah, so on our website here, absystems.com, you can go to that link up there at the top, income potential, and you'll see this little calculator where you can plug in your own numbers. We've just got some plugged in there to show you an example, but keep in mind that 39,000 we're looking at there that you could earn is from one doctor.
Right.
So, we've got licensees who have dozens of doctors, and if you watch some of the interviews, I'll be doing an interview next week, in fact, Eric, with a young lady that's built a tremendous business. I don't even know the number that she's got right now. Tracy has not shared that with me, but that's why I'm doing the interview, to find out where she's at now.
You bet. Yeah, so just know the comparisons, folks. And again, if you go to school, it may cost you anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 to maybe $30,000 for you to go work for somebody 8 hours a day, making $38,000 a year. Here you can work for yourself, work from home, have your own schedule, take a couple of hours a day to make this kind of money, and then again expand that to however you want to be able to do. So, well, again, we're kind of just showing you again, your average earnings could be about $150 a day times 5 days a week. That's $750 a week by 52 weeks. That's $39,000 for the year. Again, taking you about 2 hours a day. Now, Patrick, if you think about that, I'm not a great mathematician, but I think that comes out to $75 an hour working from home.
Yeah, that's. I'll take your word for that.
Yeah. Well, if you take $150 a day divided by 2 hours, that's just take it into half. I mean, that's pretty good money for someone that wants to make, a living at home. And it really does. That journey can start right here at American Business System. So what we're going to do now is just kind of show you what our package is so that you get to really understand how you can get involved in this healthcare market. So
now, Eric, I don't know if we've actually mentioned on this webinar, which we do so many webinars, I forget from one to the next, but folks, our investment is about $27,000. It's $26,990. But if you look at that compared to what you could spend just getting some sort of degree that then allows you to go look for a job, there's a huge difference here. Plus, this has no limit. How many doctors do you want? If you could make $39,000 with one doctor, then in your head, just do the math on how many doctors do I need to make the kind of income that I'd like to make. Hey, I got a question here, Eric. Come in from David. David says, what software requirements do physicians or clients need to switch to ABS? David, that's the great thing, is that our system is not software that resides on the doctor's computer at all. It's in the cloud, which means we will give you a login. So as long as the doctor has an internet connection, that's the requirement. They can be using the cheapest laptop you can find. And I'm sure that they can get on the internet. They can start up a browser and get on the internet. And that's all it takes to run our software, because once they're there, they log in. And we're going to show you a little video a little bit later of our actual system being used across the internet live. And you'll see how easy that is. You can work from anywhere, anytime. You could be on the beach in Hawaii working on our system.
Yeah, you bet.
So no requirements, David, other than they have to have a computer connected to the internet. It could be a Mac computer, an Apple Mac. It could be a Windows computer. It could be a Chromebook. It really doesn't matter. Yeah. People are used to that, Eric, I guess, because with software, most software is, so, of course, to be installed, you have this whole list of, okay, here's how much memory you have to have, how much storage on the hard drive, and so forth. We don't have any of those problems. You can literally work at, you could go, Eric, I've said this before in jest, but you could go to a library that lets you get on the internet, and you could log into our system and do your billing from there.
You could, absolutely.
Yeah. Ooh, lots of good questions coming in here.
Yeah, let's see. Yanria. Hope I said that correctly. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name, but forgive me. Is the initial in the initial investment, is there a veterans discount? If you'll give back with your business coach, I bet you we can work out something, because we are running some specials right now for our 25th anniversary. So just give back with them. They would be very happy to be able to help you out with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so there really are some good questions here. Gary's asking, I'm reading that interoperability will be the governmental mandate on all EHR system. Is the iDocs now currently compatible with other systems like Epic and Cerner and etc.? You know, Gary, that's a big question that you're asking. And again, if we get down into the nitty gritty of answering that question, we may lose a lot of people. So Gary, I think your question is very technical, and we can answer that. Bottom line is that our current system, which is the iClaim EMRX platform, meets the requirements that are needed to do some interoperability. Now, it doesn't do all of it, because again, that what you're talking about is how other EMR systems are connecting and talking with each other. So we do have some things there, some technical things of working together and communicating with those systems that can be done. But better to get with your business coach, because we'll be able to answer that in a little bit broader way of answering that for you. So we didn't want you to get your question up there and us not wanting to answer that question. It is technical, and we can answer that for you offline outside of a webinar. But Patrick, getting back to our slides just real quickly, one of the things that they're getting for the investment are all of these marketing materials, which again could cost people not just money, but a lot of time trying to develop. And this is not even showing the website that they can actually get as well.
Yeah, Eric, you should have seen, I may have shown you some of this initial literature that I developed back 25 years ago, before anybody else was doing this. My wife and I started doing billing for doctors. And so I had to develop all my own marketing materials. So now we have these professionally designed, full color, slick postcards, flyers, the books that I've mentioned that you can have your name put right on the book. Those types of things. I had little, I printed these things out, I think, on a dot matrix printer. Remember those? And, it was pretty crude looking stuff. But yeah, you get over 2,000 pieces of marketing materials, folks. Then you can reorder them, of course, as you need to at our printing cost. We don't make money on any of the reorder of any of our supplies, because we make money on all the services that you're offering to the doctors. Those are paid to us from our technology partners. But long story short is we're going to sell it to you at our printing cost so that you can go out and get more clients.
Okay, good. And I've got some other, Tanya, you're asking, or Tanya, is it compatible with their existing EMR, or is this an extra step the doctor would have to do? Well, to answer that question properly, one of the things you're going to learn to do in our training class, and that kind of brings us up to our next slide here. In our training class, you're going to learn how to do what's called a practice analysis. In that practice analysis, you're going to discover what you're going to need to do for the doctor. Obviously, we could be telling the doctor what they need, but the best thing is to try to figure out what they need and deliver whatever that they need through one of the services that you may have. And Patrick, showing this class here, this is one of our classes that we had just last year. But what they're learning here, we bring in some of our licensees from across the United States. Sometimes you're there doing some training. I do some online training there at the workshop, and we're kind of going through all of this agenda here, just so that those that are on the webinar today, you can kind of get a taste of what you actually learn, everything from the overview down to pricing and proposals. Yeah,
you're seeing about 40 hours of training right there summarized in this one slide. Our training lasts, it's 8 in the morning till 5, sometimes even 5:30 in the evening, depending on how many questions there are during the day. And Eric, that time goes by so fast. People literally look at their watches at the end of each day and go, wait a minute, it's impossible that we've been here this long, because you think this material is going to be dull or really hard or technical or something. It's not. And our instructors make it very fun, interactive. We bring in the laptops, so you're actually hands-on doing billing by the end of the first day. It's a very interactive workshop, and that's why we do it live. It's the only way that you can really learn something is to do it.
You bet. Just get in there and knock it out and just learn it as you go. Yeah. Kyra, you're asking the question here: how do you convince a doctor if they're already using a system with a contract? Again, Kyra, when we say these words, convince a doctor, we're not here to convince a doctor of anything. What we want to do is get the doctor to discover through that practice analysis. You can see it's in that second list over there towards the bottom. That practice analysis will tell the doctor much more than what you could ever do to convince a doctor. Wouldn't you agree, Patrick? Because if we're trying to convince something, we're really trying to sell.
I think people have this conception that this is some sort of sale that has to be made. Folks, let me ask you this. If you were in the Sahara Desert and you had snow cones, how much selling would you have to do? I mean, it's that easy to show a doctor. If you can show a doctor, look, you're spending this amount of money each year on doing the billing yourself inside your own office with your own staff, your own software and upgrades and so forth, and training and IT support and all those hidden costs. And we can do it for this amount of money. It's a difference of $100,000. Any selling to do there? Any convincing to do? No. So folks, you have to just imagine that we have, after 25 years, figured out how to educate the doctor, just like we're educating you on these webinars, to the point where they want to have our system. It's completely different from what you think of, but I think part of his question there was, how do you convince the doctor if they're already using a system with a contract? Now, there are doctors who have signed contracts with other medical billing companies, but believe me, we have licensees signing up those doctors every day, because we have ways of convincing the doctor that they can get out of those contracts if they want to, and we'll show them how to do that. So it's very simple once they realize that if there's $100,000 on the line, or even $50,000 that I could have extra in my pocket this year, I'm going to do whatever it takes to do that. So
yeah, you bet. And again, what we're trying to share with the doctor is, again, if we can help them get out of their contract, we will. But I think once the doctor sees the benefits of being on a web-based platform like the iClaim EMRX platform, they're going to find a way to be able to do that, because there's such an advantage of having your claims processing, your practice management, your electronic medical records on the same platform, your own clearinghouse and a patient portal, everything connected with one system. We can figure out and help these doctors know what's best for them. Kind of going back to that question, how do we convince them? This is one of those ways that we help them discover what are the best things for them. Patrick, I mean, we haven't found one yet that has like everything connected. This could be the best service that any doctor could have.
Yeah, Eric, after being in this business for 25 years, I can tell you I've seen companies like ours come and go. And the ones that have gone by the wayside have been the ones that are offering some sort of server-based software. In other words, they're selling a CD full of data that somehow gets installed on people's computers. Macs don't even have a DVD drive. So, somehow they're convincing doctors and people that are looking into getting into this business to install software on their computer. Folks, there's nothing more dangerous than that in today's world, because then all the patient data resides on your hard drive in your office, on your computer. Very dangerous. Somebody's asked the question here, for example, about the HIPAA restrictions with the cloud-based apps. Actually, Rick, there are more restrictions now with server-based software that's installed on a hard drive. There's where the danger comes in if the computers crash and they haven't been backed up nightly, if they are stolen. then all that patient data then is exposed to whoever stole the computer, you see. With
Right.
the cloud, nowadays, ours is HIPAA compliant, which means it's been reviewed by HIPAA and by the government, and it's been tested over the last 25 years to be solid enough to where we have never had any kind of breach. We've never lost any data, patient data. And that's because we have all of the things in place that keep that from happening. Redundancy, backups, and all sorts of things that go on there. So yeah, there's very few restrictions on ours. All we have to do is make sure that you are aware that when you log in, you want to make sure that you log out when you finish. And don't leave that computer on the park bench beside you or on the beach.
And ours it'll actually time you out of that if it's there. Yanira, you're asking the question, how do I connect with a business coach? If you don't know who your business coach here is at ABS, after this webinar, this list of people like yourself will be on that list. We'll make sure that someone's reaching back out to you for that. You know, one of the things that you're going to learn in that training workshop during that week is how to become a medical revenue cycle manager. And that's where we get the CRMRM. I think I maybe put too many letters in there. CMRM, Certified Medical Revenue Manager. That's one of the things that we're teaching is the whole revenue cycle management here at ABS.
Yeah, and this little illustration that Eric has here on the screen, folks, just kind of illustrates the 4 parts of revenue cycle management that we teach you during that week. Now, you'll find this hard to believe, but Eric, it's true, and we've had people tell us this even after the training class, that they get more during this week, this intense training week, and they understand more about the revenue cycle in a doctor's office than 99% of all the office managers and doctors out there. Right. So you really will be the positioned expert even by the end of this 1 week's training. Now, our training goes on. We do weekly webinars for our licensees that are done usually on Fridays. We have got one this Friday coming up, day after tomorrow. Right. And so those are ongoing training that we keep you up with all the changes in the industry and new ideas for marketing your business and so forth. So it's a continual learning, but I call it a mini MBA during that week, Eric. They're really just cramming everything in. It's kind of like getting a drink out of a fire hydrant. But lots of good information, and then all of that information is on our private website so that people can go back home and review that and watch videos of all the things that were covered during the live workshop. So you don't have to, remember everything. You won't. It's a lot of information.
Yeah. Kier, you're asking the question, do we provide potential leads? We don't provide potential leads because leads are expensive, and by the time we get those leads to you, those are just dead leads. I mean, we can give you a list of doctors maybe in your area, but you can find that same list of doctors on a Google search. Now, we're going to show you strategic ways that you might find doctors who are actually looking to outsource their billing, and they don't even know it. So we've got some strategic ways of showing you how to reach your target market, which is obviously going to be anybody from a chiropractor all the way up to some type of a surgeon.
One of those businesses that I told you about earlier, Eric, that do something similar to what we do, used to promise people that they would give them a list of doctors in their area, and people assumed that those were doctors who had shown an interest in outsourcing their billing. Folks, if we had that list, our license fee would be a whole lot more than $27,000. We would just go out and sign all those doctors up ourselves. But what we're going to do instead of giving you a fish, we're going to teach you how to fish. We're going to show you exactly where to connect in your area, your market, with the people who know the doctors that are having problems with their cash flow. And that's what Eric is pointing out here, your target market. We're going to zero in on the types of specialties that you should be approaching, how to find those specialties in your area, and find the people that are selling products and services to those doctors different from what you're selling to the doctors. So it's a great way to get connected through people who are connected. You bet.
All right, Gary, you asked the question, will Cynthia be teaching the next class? She will be teaching the next class. I believe so. Is that correct, Patrick? Cynthia?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've got her locked in for the next 1 billion years.
As long as we can keep her alive, I think we're going to be good. Yeah.
That's right. She's been
So
doing this for us now. As you know, Eric, she is a licensee herself, has been in this business for about 10 years. She is actually running her business even while she's down here for the week. She's got people, employees who do a lot of the work, of course, but she runs that from her laptop in her hotel room while she's here this week. And she absolutely loves coming down here and sharing her knowledge of this business with other people. So you'll hear from somebody who's out there actually doing it. I mean, Eric and I can teach it, but it's not like we're actually out there doing it. So
right.
much
Well,
different.
yeah, and again, you got to know that as you're going out there to market in this healthcare market, you got to have some differentiators. Obviously, the differentiator that we're talking about is the iClaim practice management system. This is where the front office can use it. The billing company's been able to use it. We're going to kind of take you through a few things. We might even have time. I'm looking at the clock here. We might have some time to show you a little brief video of an actual demonstration of the software that we encourage everybody to kind of learn how to do this. In that training workshop, we're going to teach you hands-on of how to look at what a patient registration form looks like to what's over here on the right-hand side, which is what's called a super bill, how to learn all these codes. And again, this is not a coding class. So Patrick, you want to talk about the difference between what we do, what a coding class is, but what we have as one of our services that actually helps with coding.
Yeah, well, first of all of those codes that you folks have heard about, the diagnosis and the procedure codes, they're all built into our system. And since it's a cloud-based system, it's always up to date. Always. Every time you log in, you've got the latest codes because we're going to continually update those as we need to. So in our system are every one of those codes. You don't have to go and have a coding class or be a certified, medical coder to be in our business because they're built in. Now, we also have a service called, and that was one of the flyers that we showed earlier, I think, Eric, that's referred to as CodeWrite, which means we have certified medical coders that are ready to help you with your doctors if there are specific questions or problems that they're having with their coding. So we've got you covered both ways.
Yeah, I'm just now putting up that flyer up there because that's really what it is all about, folks. It's about the other services that you'll have immediately once you become an ABS licensee. So you're going to be greater than just a medical biller. You're going to have all these other services that, again, if we've got some time, we'll kind of wrap those up with you here in just a moment. Patrick, I thought I'd say right before we kind of start getting into the whole iClaim platform here, maybe I can show this little video here of a quick little demo that
Perfect.
kind of just whets people's appetite, maybe to get back with their business coach here and let's get some of these scheduled for you. So let me see if I can pull this up here and let it change up. Yeah.
Yeah. So this demo that you're about to see is a little clip, just a short clip of an actual demo. And usually these last about what, Eric, 45 minutes. They're done with the doctors that are your prospects. We do these, our staff does, for you as a licensee. And so here's just a sample of what we'll be covering in those.
Yep, here we go.
So with iClaim, we have a special feature built in that's exclusive to our system that really streamlines this process, and it takes the data entry portion out. So with our system, the receptionist has a little bit of a different process or flow. Instead of going into a new data entry form, instead the receptionist asks, what insurance provider do you have? So is it Aetna or Blue Cross or United or Humana or, which insurance company? And so the patient would give the insurance company and the receptionist would say, okay, do you have your insurance ID card handy? Can you read me the subscriber ID number? Great. So they rummage around in their bag or their wallet. They read back the subscriber ID. And then, now this is patent pending technology. This is some proprietary magic on our end. But we have an integrated real-time eligibility engine that's built into the system. So when I hit this lookup button, now I'll just say, we can't actually look up a real patient on our system. That would be a huge privacy violation. So this is all fake, patient information in the system. But when I hit lookup, it's going to return a result that looks like this. This is a real-time eligibility search result. And in this case, United Healthcare is delivering back a response that shows our patient, Isabella Stevens, has active insurance in place with United Healthcare. So this is like step one. We're verifying that when Isabella shows up at the office later today or tomorrow, she's got verified insurance in place, and we can file a claim and get reimbursed through United Healthcare. So that's a great step one. But iClaim has one additional step that is just one of our killer features. Now, when we show this next step to doctors and office managers, I've been on the demos before. I've heard them literally say, okay, where do we sign? or go ahead and take my money. And I'll show you why. When I hit this create chart button right here, it's going to make a secondary request to United Healthcare and deliver back all of the demographic information for Isabella. So it's a little subtle because I just went from one screen to the next screen, but United Healthcare delivers her name, date of birth, race, sex, ethnicity, address, email address, phone number, the whole 9 yards right into a new patient record. And so we don't have to spend the time doing the data entry, and we get 100% accurate data as it lives on United Healthcare servers. So,
Patrick, I mean, that is pretty incredible that our system can actually do what it's showing right there. So, folks, that's just a sample of what you can see on one of our. If you would like to see this for yourself, we would love to be able to show this for you and get this information to you just whenever you'd like to see it as a potential licensee of American Business Systems. Just get back with your business coach and we'll actually go through an entire, like you said, 40, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. We'll get into some really deep stuff. So I think, Gary, you got some great questions, some deep questions here. Get back with your business coach and let's get you signed up to do one of those demos for you.
Yeah, Eric, let me just suggest this. All of our coaches here look at the questions that people are typing into these boxes. So if you wanted to see a demo, you can just put that in there right there. Please get back with me to see one of these demos, and we'll arrange that for you within the next day or two.
You bet. You bet. We would love to be able to demonstrate this for you because it's kind of like you test driving a car. I mean, there's many franchises or business opportunities that you can see something real time as what we were able to do during one of those demos. Again, we're kind of just showing you all the other services that we have, and again, not just the marketing pieces, but really a lot of this that can help you get in front of a doctor, whether it is billing, whether it's the code right or the audit guard or iDocs now or the compliancy guard. Patrick, we've already looked at code right and kind of see what that does. I mean, audit guard, it could be another service that could get someone right smack dab right in that doctor's office, because we know that every doctor that sees a Medicare patient could be under a Medicare audit.
Yes, and folks, every one of these services, basically we came up with these when licensees came to us and said, hey, the doctor has this particular problem. Do we have any solution to that? So we developed these solutions in response to what our licensees actually find out there in the actual world. Now, look, we don't have time to go through every one of these today on this webinar, folks, but you can get back with your coach and ask them about any one of these. They're all covered in our virtual brochure, of course. If you've engaged with us, then you have access to that and can read about each one of these. But be sure and ask questions about Compliancy Guard and Audit Guard and iDocs Now and all of these ancillary services. Again, all available to you as a part of your package, not for extra costs. And you can offer these to the doctors if you want to. They're always optional, of course.
I know, Patrick, we're coming close to the top of the hour, and I know that you probably have to be peeling off here just pretty quickly, but here's what I thought we would do. I'm going to kind of skip ahead way ahead and give you an opportunity to talk about something that I think is one of the biggest parts of the whole business package, and that is the money back guarantee. Give you some time just kind of share that, and then we can get back into some questions, and we'll kind of see how we can wrap up this webinar today.
Yeah, well, we used to not have a guarantee of any kind, because this is one of those hard things, folks. It's not like you could come to our training and get all of our information, all of our proprietary information and handouts and things during that week, and then at the end of the week ask for your money back and go back home. And I used to say, well, we can't do that because people might take advantage of that. Then at some point I thought, you know what, that's the way I would want to purchase something like this. Is you don't know if what me and Eric are saying is true or not until you come down and sit through that week's training. That's the only way you'll know for sure. And so I've just decided at one point a few years back that if at the end of the training workshop, for any reason or for no reason at all, you don't think this business is right for you, you simply tell any of us and we'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. Now, you'll be out the the travel cost for getting here to Dallas, and that week in the hotel, which is about $700, I think, with tax for all 5 nights. But folks, that's very little money to invest in a business to find out if it's for real. If it is, then of course it's worth way more, I think you'll agree, than what we asked for the licensing fee. If not, get your money back and go off and find something that does fit your lifestyle better.
You bet. You bet.
Yeah.
Patrick, I thought we would try to maybe take a couple of these others questions here. Yanira is asking again, what about could I get doctors out of my state?
Oh yeah, in fact, Yanira, we have people, licensees who have probably the bulk of their clients are out of state. Now the way that happens is they might sign up a doctor here locally in their own city from the contact information and marketing methods we teach. But then that doctor knows another doctor in another state. Well, there's no territories with our company, so you have the ability to sign that doctor up in any state, all 50 states in the United States, and grow your business as big as you want to. Then that doctor might know another doctor in another state, and that's how that happens. So yes, it's very possible that you could have doctors all over the United States.
Well, I'm showing again some of the marketing material here, and I thought I'd show in again, if we can squeeze you in just a little bit longer here, about the books, the importance of these books, and the importance of these books actually helping licensees get clients. You want to kind of talk about what this is, and really the book that you kind of showed earlier, and all these other books that we have available to help our licensees get a client.
Yes, well, these two on the left, for example, are both books that were developed specifically for our licensees to use as marketing tools. So we let you brand those books by putting your name on the cover right along with Dr. Vicki Rackner as the author. Your name is there as having written the foreword. We've already written it for you, so all you do is just add your name to it, basically. But the great thing is that on the inside of the book, you're also there on the title page, and at the end of the foreword, your contact information, your name, your company name, phone number, email address, website, all of that can be right there inside the book. And folks, again, I know you find this hard to believe, but we have figured out how to have these books printed. This one is $24.95 on Amazon. You'll get it for about $4 your printing cost. This particular book here, it's about 230 pages, I think. Yeah. So they're wonderful, and they give you such credibility with doctors to know that you are associated and partnered basically with Dr. Vicki Rackner. We go into that in more detail in the workshop, but you'll see that we've partnered with her, and therefore you've partnered with her as well.
You bet. And Gary's asking the question about iClaim, and basically how many doctors can be on that particular platform. Now, Gary, it just depends. You can have an entire group. You'll have a list of all of your doctors that you can get on that, but literally you can have as many of them as you want to get signed up on there.
Yeah, there's no limit to that. No limit to the number of users that you can put on there in each doctor's office, or users on your end as far as people working for you. Those people could be either close by in your own office if you open up an office, or they could be working from their home remotely anywhere in the United States or in the world, as far as that goes.
Yeah, I mean, since it's a web-based system, again, you can be anywhere. People can work from home if you want to have them work from home. Obviously, Gary, I mean, you got a lot of bandwidth of what you can be able to do there.
Now, this may be the question you're referring to, Eric, but I see one there from Gary that's saying how many practitioners are currently using the systems.
Okay, yeah, I think I may have just read that.
Yeah, so I wanted to address that, Gary, in this respect. We literally have over 60,000 doctors nationwide that are using the system. However, don't let that scare you, because that's a very small percentage of the number of doctors that are in the United States. There's almost 1 million medical providers in the United States. So we haven't even scratched the surface in any given area.
Yeah, no, we haven't even scratched the surface. Yeah, and I think maybe that question can lead to people asking the question, Patrick, is this market saturated? I mean, obviously you kind of need to know that, but I think we've kind of laid out that it's just barely, like you said, scratching the surface here.
Yeah, but it's been proven, like I said, over the last 25 years, we have proven that the system works. And I think that's what you're looking for. Like you said, Gary, there, I see his note. That's a good number. It was more about credibility.
More about credibility. Yeah.
Eric, sorry, I have to run for another call that I do at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to let you wrap it up here. Thanks for putting this together. Good information.
Absolutely. Thanks, Patrick, for your time.